Hello and welcome to the Metabolic Balance ANZ podcast. So, this is where we share real stories and insights to help you understand a little bit more about what metabolic balance is and how it can be a potential health transformation for you too. I'm Cherry Wills, I'm your host, and I am delighted to say that today I'm joined by a wonderful client, Phil Vidal. Hello, Phil. How are you? How's it all going?
Hi, Sharon. It's all going very well, thanks.
Thank you so much for joining me. So really, I just want to hear why did you start Metabolic Balance? What was it that drew you to say something needs to change?
Well, my partner's been doing metabolic balance, and I was suffering from a lot of hay fever, inflammation. I was struggling to drop some kilos, um, and generally overall the health side of me wasn't as good as what I would like it to be. And with the hay fever, I tried the tablets; they didn't work. And when I eat food, it would just go right off. And I wanted to find out what it was that was causing it and try and get to the bottom of it.
How long have you had the hay fever?
I've had it for as long as I can remember, maybe 20 years, and I've just lived with it. And in the end, I just thought it's time to do something about it. Um, it's been getting worse. It has been getting a lot worse in the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so I mean hay fever is probably one of those things that's kind of seen as a relatively, um, minor problem really, but actually it must have been then impacting your day-to-day life quite a lot.
Every time I would eat, um, every time it would just go off, and I would sneeze maybe 5 to 10 times, depending on what it was or how much of something I may have eaten. And it constantly blowing my nose for maybe 10, 15 minutes afterwards. And that was just from eating, from food. So I needed to find out what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what have you tried in the past? I mean, like you said, you've tried tablets.
Tried Yeah, I went and did the pinpricks. You get all the little pinpricks on your arms, and to see what it is that you're allergic to. Um, nothing came up.
Nothing came up.
Nothing came up. Um, when I spoke to the person who was doing the pinpricks for me, she said, "Look, it could be food related." She talked a little bit about things and said, "Oh, when you have emotion, do you sneeze as well?" I said, "Yeah, that happens quite a lot." It's a nice bit of a terrible subject, but it's what happens. It's processing the food through your body, and it just set me off every time.
Yeah. So so your partner was then doing metabolic balance.
She did, and I was fascinated by it. By what she had fantastic results from it.
Okay. So to fill us in a little bit, what did she have?
Well, she started before we met, and then she was when I met her, she was taking almonds before she would eat anything, and she was talking to me about it, and I asked her questions, and then as we became more and more serious, I thought it's time for me to step up and support her more on this. I thought, well, I'll try this too because I've got these things that I'd like to try and see what's going on. It's not. I was reasonably happy with my weight. It was just these other things that I wanted to find out, and I had inflammation in my legs, um, and I just wanted to see what could be done about that. And then so I signed up with Sharon, and um, I haven't looked back. It was fantastic. Straight away, I started seeing some results. It's from the hay fever. I mean, I call it hay fever, but it's an allergic. It's a reaction, not allergic, but it's a reaction to the food of some sort. Um, and it stopped. Everything stopped. And now I'll indulge in one thing, and then it'll come back. I go, okay, I know what that is. I know what's caused it, and I pull back, and it stops.
So have you actually really learned which foods then are a problem for you now when you reintroduce them?
Anything that's got high in histamine, will set me off. Any food that's high in histamine. If I have too much of something, so one of the things that I found fascinating about the MB is metabolic balance is that they talk to you, they show you what foods that your body actually wants, and then how much of it it wants. Not, and I'll quite often I'll indulge in something. I will have a little bit too much of one thing, and sure enough, it'll go off again. Not as bad as it has in the past, but and I know that, and I can see that. I go, okay, I know what I've done, and I'm in control of it now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything that you were really surprised that you could have on your food list or couldn't, or when you saw your food list, what were your initial thoughts?
I've been eating eggs for breakfast for years, and eggs weren't on my list for breakfast.
Okay.
Couldn't have eggs for breakfast. I could only have them at lunchtime and dinner time. And sure enough, I stopped taking eggs in the breakfast. Mind you, everything else, there's so much you can have. It's quite wide ranging, the food. But the fact that I couldn't, I started to have eggs in the breakfast again, and I thought I'll give this a try. And sure enough, the hay fever would start again. And then at lunchtime and dinner time, not a drama. It's not a problem. My body wants something at a certain time and not for breakfast. But generally speaking, I can almost eat anything. Just got to do it at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, it is very interesting because, yes, the analysis does come back for some people. Yep, you have eggs for breakfast. Whereas, I would say, in my experience, seeing plans over the years, maybe around 30% of people might get eggs at breakfast. So it's funny how eggs have become such a breakfast food in our world, isn't it? It's everywhere. It's like, oh yeah, eggs for breakfast.
Everywhere I go, when you go out for breakfast somewhere, it's always eggs in there. And I look for different things now. I look for when my body wants chicken in the morning for breakfast, and I think, and I love it. And that's the other thing I found that there's some of the foods I thought I wouldn't enjoy. I actually really enjoyed everything, all the vegetables.
It's like giving yourself the opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, it was surprised me because there were some vegetables I thought I'd never eat those, um, and now I'm cooking them and eating them on a regular basis. It's incredibly helpful. My body loves it.
So, what else have you experienced since you've been, since starting metabolic? So, we know that you've really got to the bottom and sorted out those hay fever symptoms. Is there anything else that you would share that you've experienced?
My inflammation is under control. My right leg and below my knee down to my foot was always quite swollen, um, and that's gone. It comes back if I indulge in something. If I have a weekend where I'm going out and over Christmas, etc., things happen, and yeah, I indulge a little bit. It comes back, but it goes again so quickly. This plan, I've got a plan now that I can actually work it and get everything under control very quickly again. Now, I might get some inflammation and I might put on 1 or 2 kilos overnight, but I know that with the right eating again, it's gone. And I've got a plan where I can manage everything now. So I manage my weight, which is the inflammation more often than not, and I'm in control of it. So I'm staying on a more even keel where my weight is. It's not going up significantly or down significantly.
Yeah, because would you mind sharing how old you are, Phil?
Yeah, 62.
62. Yeah. So this is kind of where, I'm hoping maybe retirement and you're looking to actually really enjoy life, have more time on your hands, and you're not really wanting to sit in doctors' waiting rooms and be in pain or not be able to do stuff now.
No, and I don't even have a regular GP, so I rarely go to the doctor. I only go when I absolutely have to for something. Um, but I'm not looking to retire either. Actually, I'm looking to keep going. So
Awesome. Well, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? A lot of the time people get into their sort of 50s, 60s, 70s, and their body starts to sort of break down a little bit, stop working, aches and pains creep in. Would you say that you're just not feeling that now?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say that actually, with the ache, when you mention aches and pains, just don't have a problem with that anymore. When I work out too hard at the gym, maybe a little bit of an ache and pain, but that's from working too hard at the gym, pushing the muscles a bit. But it's really those. Okay, there's another thing that's really helped me out, and I haven't mentioned before, and that is the inflammation in the joints and my knees. My knees, I had for years, I had terrible pain in my knee from time to time. I've had 3 operations on it. I get zero pain in my knee now. I walk, I'll go for long walks or work out at the gym and no pain whatsoever.
Are you surprised about that? I mean, like often, you could like totally say, if we were to think back, um, you've had 3 operations on your knee. It's always been painful. If you'd said at the beginning, told at the beginning, okay, maybe your knee doesn't have to be as inflamed as it is, and we could actually potentially see how the body could rebalance and that inflammation be reduced so that you're not in pain. Would you have said that that would be possible?
I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have, I mean, the fact that I've gone through it and experienced it, yeah, I know it's true, but I would not have believed it if Sharon had said to me that that'll happen. Yeah, look, I'll believe that when it happens. And as it happens, it's happened. I have believed it when it's happened.
I always say that the human body really wants to be well and restore balance as best it can and get to a potential that it can. So it's not like saying we're going to suddenly make you into a 25-year-old who can, do whatever. But actually, it doesn't mean that you have to live in daily pain.
You don't, and it's just eating well, and I mean, I like to exercise, so I like to go out for a walk. I like to go to the gym and keep fit. Everything is quite easy to do when now that I'm doing this plan. One of the look, I think my heaviest weight was around 110 kilos, and I was well and truly quite big around the face, um, and it, a lot of inflammation, a lot of bad eating, a lot of just poor food choices, and now it's like everything I everything I eat, everything I drink, it's part of the plan. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
That's an important point, though, because a lot, a lot of really what we're doing, what you've done is like whole fresh foods, lovely water, and then coffee when you want it, whatever, and you know, on balance, any celebratory drinks that you might want to have. But actually, you are maybe not doing a typical day to day what the average person the average 62-year-old might do every day kind of thing. And but you're saying you're not missing out.
No, I'm not. I'm not missing out on anything. My foods are great. All the different vegetables that I'm eating, I actually like them. Got onto Google and worked out how to cook them so they taste nice, and and it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. It's an interesting point that a lot of the time being able to look after ourselves, it's it does take a certain commitment, and it takes a certain saying, yeah, do you know what, I'm going to show up every day and I'm going to eat some beautiful food. So that commitment that you've put forward, it's been worth it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, my partner, we plan our meals a little bit because it just makes life easier. Because we both got busy lives with her work, my work, and so we just plan things out and portion things up. It's quick and easy for me to grab something and put it on and cook it up for lunch or for for whatever. So anytime, it's I like to be organised. It's great.
Yeah. And over Christmas, you've already mentioned a little bit. So, we're recording this now and towards the end of January. And when did you start? When did you first get your plan?
Look, I got my plan April, May last year.
Cool. So you had some really nice changes happening all through 2024. Then you've had obviously Christmas, the first Christmas and New Year that maybe is doing things differently. What was it like?
It was fine. I mean, if I if I woke up the next day and I felt like, okay, I had too much yesterday, I could feel it in my body. And now I just cut back. I go back onto the plan as best I can while I'm traveling. You can't be, it's not perfect. You can't be, when you're traveling around, it's like just stick to it as best you can. And now that I'm back home again, back in the office, it's just within a matter of days, I was back back to normal, what I consider my new normal.
It is that almost uh, choosing the word a bit empowerment, isn't it? Because you know what you need to do now.
Yeah, I've got that plan, and I've got the plan for the rest of my life. I've tried other ways of when I was looking just purely at losing weight and not really looking at what I was eating, but looking at from a weight loss perspective. They were great to a point, and then they stopped. This one just now I've got this plan in a folder with me for life and on my phone on the app. I've got it forever. I can't. I've got no. I can't say, oh yeah, but that worked for a while. Now it doesn't work. It's going to work for me forever.
Yeah, because the right fuel for the human body, it really does just work. I mean, I think that's it is actually the weight loss that you've experienced. I often argue it's just a side effect of your body being healthy now. You store the health, and oh yeah, you just happen to release a bit of weight because you don't need to hold on to that anymore.
It's getting the balance right in the body. The weight sorts itself out. The body finds where it wants to be because you're eating the right foods. Eating the foods that the body actually wants and needs.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would share that was a real challenge? Because again, we like to know the real stuff. Is that you thought, okay, you had to sort of really get your mind focused to push through.
I tend to be a person that when I set my mind to something, I will work at it until I achieve what I want. Um, I do enjoy a nice glass of wine or three, um, and I have pulled back a little bit on that, but not because I feel the inflammation coming when I drink too much, and that's what I found, and that's been a challenge. But I've actually I was talking to my partner just this last week about it. I said I actually don't mind. It's actually so much. I feel so much better for it. At first, I thought like when we're partying and what have you, I like to drink and I like to have a few and indulge a bit. But I started to feel that my body went, you know what, that's not what you need. You need a couple of them, no problems at all. Don't even feel it. But when I go too far, then the inflammation kicks in really big time. It's like, but even with food, if I indulge, I love a meat pie. Always love my meat pies. And I like to go and find new meat pies in new locations when I'm traveling. Um, my body doesn't mind one or two, but then when I indulge too much, it's time to cut back a little bit. Wait for a while, and then have another one maybe sometime.
So you know what to do, but it is that real good quality of life 80/20 rule, really, isn't it? Because 80% of the time, let's just look after ourselves as best we can, do the best choices we can. But you know what, every now and again, isn't it nice to have a bit of a little bit of the partying or whatever, but then the balance, the boundary, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. The things that I thought I would miss, I don't, because I'm enjoying what I am actually having. And when I say miss, it's not that I'm not having it. I can eat anything and drink anything and everything. I just I don't need to drink as much anymore. I don't feel the need. I don't feel, and my body doesn't. It shows me that I don't need it. It's just kind of listening to the body.
I often say as well, when we're feeling like we're missing out on something, it isn't necessary. It's often maybe because we're not really understanding how well the body can feel, because as soon as you actually start to feel so well, it's almost a bit like, I really love the fact that I'm not in pain and my knee's not hurting and I'm not sneezing 15 times, and blowing my nose 20 million times. um, all of that means, yeah, what am I missing out on? I'm missing out on not having all of the rubbish stuff, and I can still have, yeah, one or two glasses of wine instead of maybe three or four, kind of thing. What am I missing out on?
Yeah, and I enjoy having 2 glasses of wine with my meal now, not 3 or 4.
It's good. It's better on the bank balance as well, isn't it?
Much better on the bank balance. And I think that's something that I really did notice too, is that is that my costs went down. My food costs went down massively. Yeah, and I really noticed that because I wasn't going out and indulging as much as I used to go out almost every night for dinner, for a meal. Um, and now I was cooking at home, and the money I saved was incredible.
The money you saved paid for the program how quickly?
Yeah, within this before, I mean, it's not even been a year that I've been on this, and it's well and truly paid for itself.
I often say that because a lot of the time, because the upfront initial investment.
It did shock me a little bit. I went, oh, okay, and because my partner had done it and she had such great results, it was. I thought, yeah, look, well, great example, so I'll do it. And I was thinking, oh my God, but it's paid for itself, well and truly.
So, what would you say to somebody now if they also say, "Oh gosh, I didn't realize it was going to be, that sort of 1,500 mark or whatever it might be. I don't. Oh gosh, that's a lot of money." What would you say to them?
I've said it to a few people already who are actually doing the plan. I said, look, yeah, it's a bit of a cost up front, but you'll save that. You'll save that and more within the first 12 months. Just not going out, not spending money on alcohol or stuff that you actually overindulged in before that you don't need to do anymore, and you actually don't want to do anymore.
And the actual main cost of metabolic balance, all of the money is towards the support from your coach. So, Sharon Carius was your coach. How, I mean, how valuable did you find her support?
Uh, Fantastic. She's the energy that she brings into the sessions that you have with her. It's fantastic. I love it, and she's so passionate about it all. It's been a great journey with her. Really good.
So, having the coach, again, this is again a different place to anything you've done before, I would say. This is the coach, to me, is just key. I mean, like, it's a fundamental part of metabolic balance that you don't do this alone. You actually have somebody who knows what they're talking about, gives you the real guidance, and tweaks and adjusts the plan based on how things are going. So, how.
I talked to Sharon about some of the things that as I was going through it, going back to the different sessions with her appointments, and yeah, we talked about some of the things that I was facing. Some of the food I was struggling to feel full at one stage, so we talked about how to increase it, what to do, and not do too much, so that so everything works still within the plan, and it just she made it easy. She made it easy for me to stay on it. She made it easy for me to be there and enjoy it and then feel satiated, feel full anyway.
Because it's not about just following the plan just word for word. It always needs to be tweaked to then that's what personalized nutrition, personalized support is. It's not just following set of rules. It's actually finding what really works well for you and tweaking them. So that's definitely what happened for you.
Absolutely, we just worked it until it just felt right. I mean, I increased a couple of things in my weights. actually, that is something I found. I thought that might be a problem for me, is having to weigh my food. I found that so easy, much easier than I expected.
Was it interesting, even like seeing what a portion size really was on a plate?
Yeah, it was. I thought, wow, this is interesting. I can have that much. That's good. Or I can. Obviously, is that enough? But everything works. There was a little bit of time where I felt a little bit hungry before my next meal, but then we just increased the weights appropriately and no problems.
Yeah, and that's that adjustment phase. Was that fairly on in the early in the beginning?
It was pretty early on. Yeah,
It's an adjustment. It's always adjusting to what from what you had before.
I've progressed to phase four, and everything's so easy to maintain now.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, really, when you think about that. At the age of 62, you now know what you just need to do, to take you through nicely to 92 at least, kind of thing.
But definitely, I plan to be around for as long as I can be.
Excellent. So do I.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, somebody who's listening, who's thinking, I kind of relate to what Phil's saying, and I'm wondering if this is something I should investigate further, what would you say?
Oh, absolutely. I think having struggling with things in your health and your body, do it, because I was really pleasantly surprised by the results that I got. The changes in the inflammation, the changes in my hay fever, the pain in my joints, all of those things have just been incredible to change, and I'm loving it.
Wonderful. And I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased that you've had those results, which is what people get with MB. I mean, I'm doing this for 30 and odd years, and it is what we see. But it's so lovely. I never get tired of hearing of people having this future ahead of them that is not just pain and in struggling and health going downhill. Actually, it's this knowing how to fuel your body, and let's just do it. Let's just now enjoy life.
And that's what you do. You can enjoy life without the worries about, am I going to be in pain tonight or tomorrow morning? When I get out of bed, am I going to struggle to get out of bed in the morning? Not a problem.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Phil. It's been so great hearing your story and chatting with you today. And if anybody would like to learn more about metabolic balance, you can check out the show notes or on the website metabolic-balance.com.au. And we will be back again soon with more stories of health transformations through personalized nutrition. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Sherry.